The Northtown News Magazine is brought to you in part by the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
In closing, I want to say, hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine. Thank you very much.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet home Chicago. 2 is 4.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine. You can check us out on YouTube, communitypolicingcaps24.org. Thanks to my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. It is judicial season. It is always a pleasure. I really enjoy it a lot, and you meet a lot of interesting people, and the people running for judge have so much of an effect on people's lives and really affect your lives in such ways you can't even begin to think. And he's somebody I met in the last election cycle. And my parents are from Lithuania. He's from Lithuania. He recently went there. And that's Judge Peter Vilkelis.
Hi, Avi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Never better. Thank you for having me.
Enjoying the bench?
I love it. It's a great job. I work at Juvenile Court in the Division of Child Protection, and used to be referred to as child abuse and neglect. And so we deal with the vulnerable little children, and all the way up to the age of 21, who are wards of the court, who have come into the system for a variety of reasons involving child abuse and neglect and dependency reasons. And it's challenging but very fulfilling work, and I enjoy it every day.
No, it sounds good. Why don't you tell us about your background?
Well, I'm born and raised in Chicago. I've never lived anywhere other than an apartment in Chicago my whole life.
Wow.
I went to the University of Illinois at Chicago, John Marshall Law School. I worked as an assistant Cook County State's Attorney for 9 years, finishing my career at 26th in California, where I was a first chair prosecutor. Then I went into private practice, where I did basically all criminal defense work. I did that. I was a sole practitioner for 20 years. And then the Illinois Supreme Court appointed me to fill a vacancy, and that was in February of 2011. And I've been a judge ever since. That's
terrific. And did you start out in traffic court like many people do?
That's where they teach you to learn how to be a judge, as Judge Evans says. I was in traffic court for 7 months, but when I was sworn in by Judge Evans, I told him that juvenile court was where I wanted to work. When I was an assistant state's attorney for 3.5 years, I worked at juvenile court, and it was there that I developed the belief that I have today, that juvenile court is the most important court in our court system. No offense to any of the other courts, but we're dealing with the future of our whole society. We're dealing with these young kids who, if we don't help them when they need help, when they're young and vulnerable, they're going to just drift into delinquency and end up on the other side of the juvenile court building, where they hear juvenile justice or juvenile delinquency cases. And then if that doesn't help them, then they end up in criminal court at 26 in California. And we all know the problems that our society has with criminality. And we're doing our best to try to stop it by intervening in these kids' lives early on to stop that cycle of abuse and neglect leading to delinquency, by intervening and trying to make sure that the appropriate agencies, mainly DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services, put in the right services for these kids so they can get the help they need so they can become productive members of society.
No, I think that's such an important thing. And unfortunately in this country, and my father used to talk about this all the time too, is that there's so many things that go on in this country where you don't, if you treat the symptom of a disease but not the root.
Right.
And if you actually go to the root and you get there at the start, hopefully you can stem the tide, and that makes a lot of sense.
It was a wonderful experience today. We had, once a month, we as a group, all of my colleagues, we have lunch together in our boss's, the presiding judge's conference room. And today she had a group of young people come in who were wards of the court themselves, who are now out of the system. There was a young man who was 25, a young woman who was about 22, and they gave us a fascinating point of view, their perspective from having gone through the system
Wow.
themselves and saying what helped, what didn't help, what worked, what didn't work, and it just gave us a great perspective on looking at it from basically from the views of our stakeholders, from our customers, the people we're trying to help, hearing from them, their point of view. And so that was a very interesting thing, and it goes to your point about trying to get to the root cause of the problem as opposed to just treating the symptoms. We can't incarcerate our way out of this problem. We have to do something to stop it before it starts.
Yeah, we have the largest prison population of any country in the world, maybe in the history of the world. And, it's not helping very much.
No, it sure isn't. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, that's a whole... You could devote many hours of television shows to that whole issue of why that's the case. And I think it's a problem that we are working really hard at Juvenile Court to try to do something about.
Yeah, are there any, what are common circumstances that the kids find themselves in?
Well, an all too common circumstance is children having children. 15-year-old girls get pregnant. They basically can't even take care of themselves, much less an infant. And so you deal with those kinds of cases. You deal with people who are drug addicts having children, who are in no position to care for a child, but they keep bringing children into the world nonetheless, and so somebody has to take care of these poor kids. You get physical abuse cases, the obvious physical abuse cases, classic child abuse type cases. You get what are called dependency cases, and that's where a child is without care because either of a mental inability, a mental disability of their parent, or a physical disability of a parent. A parent has a bad stroke, develops Alzheimer's, is physically incapable of taking care of a children. So, I mean, it's hard to say what a typical juvenile court case is because it runs the whole gamut of the human condition and how people end up there. But one of the main issues is the confluence of mental health and drug addiction. And you have people who are cognitively delayed to begin with, mild mental retardation as a diagnosis, for example, who become heroin addicts and have children. And sometimes they can't even identify who the father is because they're working as a prostitute and to get the money to get the heroin to live. So there's a lot of vicious circles, and we're out there trying to break those circles as best we can.
No, that would be great. You know, I still remember in my early days at the cable place, I sat down with a group of women who were actually not, they did a great TV show, and they were not somewhat able-bodied beyond question, and they were all in their early 30s and already grandmothers.
Right.
And I heard, you know, one of the women said, and two others agreed, you know, I told my daughter, get pregnant when you're 14. By the time you're 16, you have 2 kids. You know, get yourself a CHA apartment, and you're set. And that's just a scary mentality.
It is. And what does that mean? You're set. You're set for what? You're set for a life of dependency on the government and looking for others to help you. And that is a scary mentality.
Yeah, no, it definitely is something that does not bode well for society.
No.
So,
But it's not limited to one class or segment of our society. It cuts across all segments of society. There's dysfunction in Wilmette. There's dysfunction in Robbins. There's dysfunction everywhere.
everywhere.
And,
No, it's very true.
so
Very true. No question about it. So you're already on the campaign trail, I assume.
I am working on it's petition season right now, and the first day we can file our petitions in Springfield is November 25th, so that's today. I'm not sure when this is going to be on television, but this will be on television after we file, probably,
Right.
but I have a couple more weeks to get it together and get down to Springfield and file my petitions.
Very good. Do you have a website?
JudgeVilkelis.com. My last name is spelled V as in Victor, Ilkelis, the common spelling.
Right.
JudgeVilkelis.com.
Very good. I want to thank you very much, Judge Peter Vilkelis, And I want to wish you good luck in the election. Which vacancy are you running for? Or do you know
Well,
yet?
I was appointed by the Supreme Court to the Maureen Connors vacancy. So the vacancy that the Illinois Supreme Court saw fit to appoint me to is the one that I am seeking election to.
Good luck in the election.
Thank you, Abby. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.